he could be thereabouts, you know.
A couple of other horses with a chance later on, some of the other handicaps.
Yeah, looking forward to Hatik in the next, Kerrison later on, but Hatik is a nice horse going forward. He was very impressive at tip, but that was on slow ground, but look, they have the ground lovely and safe, so it won't be a problem.
Went up 11 for that. Do you think there's more improvement to come from?
I'd be hoping so, Kevin, but obviously more competitive today, but he has to step up.
Good stuff. Best chance for winner would it be Hatik?
Hatik, yeah.
Good stuff. Wish you well, Dennis. We'll just go over and get a word with Joe Murphy, assistant trainer to his dad, Joe Senior. Joe, I thought Fit for Function had a big chance here, and what's a very open handicap.
Yeah, I'd probably like to draw in the middle, Kevin, but he has his chance, yeah. Didn't act probably on the slow ground here over 7 the last day, but had a good run in ace before that, so we're hopeful rather than confident.
I'm right, said a couple of pounds lower than when last winning.
Yeah, I think he's won off 74 and 76, and he won a maiden as a 2-year-old. So look, he's a decent horse on his day, a little bit on the inconsistent side. Probably likes more the Listoles and places like that. Likes to six around the bend, suits him very well. Has never won in the Curragh, but he has some good place for him up here. He's beaten by Short Step here one day, and I think Severus another day. So while he runs well here, he's never actually won here.
Hopeful rather than confident.
Exactly, yeah. Hopeful rather than confident, Kevin. Thank you.
That's number 12, I think, on the way to the start. That might be number 20. It's number 20. That is Teddy Boy, who's just a little lit up and just going past. In the stars is number 21, Lily's Prince, with Andrew Slattery. One or two of them just triggering each other off on the way down to the start. Let's take a look at the betting then for this huge field sprint handicap. 8-1 the field, and we have joint favourites in Gops's Daughter and Pleasurable. 9-1 Peshkova and Little Clarinet. 10-1 in from 14s. The significant mover is Caesar's Comet for the aforementioned Dennis Hogan with Jamie Heffernan aboard. Also at 10-1 Teddy Boy, 12-1 Paved Paradise, and 16-1 Bardos.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, wide open. The betting tells you as much. Plenty of these that can have some sort of a case made for him. I think the interesting horse that we have to start with, Don, is Gopsy's Daughter, who was a huge eye-catcher here 2 runs back. Went into a few notebooks again at Navan last time, and as you have just been pointing out off air, the jockey change is an interesting move here as well today. Alan Glynn out and Killian Leonard back on.
Yeah, look, she's a very interesting mare, Gary. She's dropped down the handicap again, another pound from that run the last day. Her peak rating 71. She's racing off 64 today, so you can see why she's popular in the market. And the change to Killian Leonard is obviously in top form. Run another winner here yesterday. That's significant. But she's got on the book on form, on bare form, she's got 4 lengths to find with Hakiba, and she's £10 better off. So she's dropped a pound. I think he's up 9. So. Yeah, look, there shouldn't be much between them on that reading, but yeah, she raced towards the near side the last day, and with Killian Leonard back on board, you can see how she could improve on that.
Easy enough to back here on track, though. Was supported from much bigger prices off course initially, and just edging back out now. I think might have actually been usurped for favouritism. Had a look at a few of these in the parading, Ruby. 1 or 2 of them just a little bit hot in the preliminaries. Anything stand out at all?
Funny, the one going down, we did see Teddy Boy. He was just getting a bit warm under the saddle going around here. But it looked very well in the ring, actually.
He's the one I like if they can just keep a lid on him beforehand.
She was grand and quiet walking around, just getting a bit sweaty under the saddle. And obviously when Andy Slattery had to go down with no stirrups, they got a bit revved. But look, that's drawn 15, slap bang in the middle of this field, so the draw shouldn't be an issue for it. It was interesting to see them racing up the middle on Friday.
It seems to be a much more level playing field. We were saying this yesterday as well, whereas the stand side was always the place to be traditionally.
I think they've kept the stalls out. I don't know at 28 now they're going to be completely across the track, but I did notice on Friday that the stalls were in the middle and making it more of a level playing field.
And they seem to want to come away from the far rail. Nobody, even the low-drawn horses yesterday, even over most notably in the Guineas itself, they didn't stick flush against the far rail. They wanted to come up the centre of the track, which is probably no harm.
This will be interesting actually, with a much bigger field for this race. We do have a couple of nuns, but still a massive field going to post. The other thing about Teddy Boy I thought was worth noting was that he ran very well, and let's face it, there seems to have been a bit of a draw bias on the straight track at Naas this season. In the face of that last time, Don, I thought he ran a good race that day.
Yeah, no, he ran a very good race, Gary. and the form of the race is working out well. He was back in 8th place that day. Verhoeven was 3rd. And yeah, look, he stayed on well. That was over 5. A stiffer test today over 6 back at the Curragh. You'd imagine that would suit him a wee bit better as well.
Quite a few of these know each other very well at this stage and would be closely matched on various strands of form. Little Clarinet's been favoured on her last 2 starts since joining Joseph O'Brien. Had a decent run first time out at Dundalk for the yard, and then has been beaten favourite a couple of times. There's definitely one of these in her, Ruby. Just trying to predict when it's going to be is the problem.
Looks a picture. She's a fine looking filly, and she's been very consistent. But the problem when you're consistent in handicaps is you don't really get a chance in the handicapper. You just seem to stay at the same mark, which you haven't managed to win off.
And Pleasurable, Don, another one worth a mention, turning out quickly here under a penalty after winning at Sligo the other night over the 6 furlong trip by Camelot, but she's got a bit of boot this one.
Yeah, again, she stayed on well that day, and she's funny because that's only less than a week ago. She's racing under a £6 penalty today, but the handicapper actually raised her by 7, so she's a pound well in, so that's no harm, and Shane Foley's back on board. She was drawn 13 of 13 that night as well, so she had to... Shane Foley used her up a little bit just to get up there and get a prominent position, and she stayed on really well. So it was a good run, and well worth £6 or £7 by which she's been raced.
She ran well over a much further journey behind a banging form horse, the name's Jock, who actually also won at Sligo the other night. Topical sort of form. Peskov is the one.
The money is coming for Gospel Daughter, Stable Companion, 7 Caesar Comet, 14s into 10s, 9s, 10s. Shamie Heffernan Rise that also ran in Sligo 5 days ago, finished 6th in it, I think.
Tricky one for punters, isn't it? Trying to even just to figure out which is the preferred. Maybe the yard feel they've got a similar sort of chance. Caesar's Comet in his own right is a capable horse at this sort of level, and Peskov is the other one for money. Don has been a beaten favourite on her last 2 starts, but I guess there were mitigating circumstances last time in particular. Yeah,
look, she was very keen that day, Gary, at going on soft ground over 7, so back down better ground over 6 today. That was only her 2nd run of the season, so there's every chance that she'll improve from that. Form probably hasn't been enhanced since by the 3rd horse, but at the same time you'd expect that she'll improve for that, and the less stiff test that she faces today is probably a plus.
She looks actually certain to go off favourite now. 7-1 Peskov in the Ballygallen stud colours, 9-1 bar, and as Ruby pointed out there, a move for Caesar's Comet at 10. But a whole host of horses there, separated by only about 4 points in the betting. Pave Paradise, another one who's been reasonably popular in the market. Ran well at Naas last time, behind 20 minutes. Again, wasn't particularly favoured by the draw that day. Another one who was drawn high on that occasion, and had won at Dundalk earlier on in the year as well. Pave Paradise. Eddie Harty back amongst the winners of late, guys. Had a bit of a quiet time, but especially with his flat horses, actually.
Yeah, that horse had a particularly high head carriage here walking around the bread ring all the same. I suppose in a sprint where there could be a bit of a blanket finish. I'd prefer one with its head down a bit lower myself.
Right, we don't have, what have we got, 6 or 7 maybe left to go forwards. Pave Paradise, who we've just been talking about there, is one of those still to go in, number 19 there. Mark Gallagher rides. Tyrconnell's also at the back. Lily's Prince with Andy Slattery, and I think Teddy Boys looks like he might have permission to go in late there. He's got the rug on for stalls entry. Horse on the far side there, Hakiba, blitzed them from the front at Navan last time. You can expect her to be prominent once again here towards this near side.
She won with plenty in hand the last day, and I know she's way worse off with Gopsy's Daughter, but she won with lots in hand. Like, she went to the line strongly as well for Declan McDonough, who rides her regularly and rides her again today. She's up £9, but it's up £9 from a mark in the high 50s to the high 60s, so it's manageable, and it was her best performance for quite some time. And you can see the money for Gopsy's Daughter, but if you're giving her a chance, then you have to give Hakiba a chance as well, and she's a far bigger price.
Yeah. A lot of the ones we've talked about are drawn middle to stand side as well. It'll be interesting if that's the way the race unfolds.
Does look as though there's plenty of pace on the near side of the track. I think we've only got 1 or 2 left to load, so let's join Jerry for the Hanlon Concrete Handicap.
Dear Connell, white flag is raised. Thereof, the 26 runners break away in the Hanlon Concrete Handicap over 6 furlongs, and in the early stages, and a loose horse as they continue on their journey and splitting into a couple of groups. But in view Lady over on the far side with Serena, and also in that group on the left hand side is Little Clarinet. On the stand side, Gopsy's Daughter is disputing the lead with Hakiba, and in between horses racing on towards the halfway stages, Hee Haw, then Polly Douglas and Paved Paradise. Coming on inside the halfway, and it is the near side group, Hakiba, Hee Haw, Gopsy's Daughter, followed by Polly Douglas. On the far side is Little Clarinet with Tyrconnell down the centre, and then Buttonview Lady, Fit for Function, and Serena, Paved Paradise and Baby Power spread across the track with a furlong to go, and Little Clarinet over on the far side with Polly Douglas, Tyrconnell, Baby Power and Hee Haw as they run up towards the finish. They're stretched across the course. Little Clarinet is hampered by the loose horse, and Baby Power has seized it close home with a blanket involved for the minor money. Little Clarinet unlucky, but Baby Power for the Caldwells and Lee Roach have won it.
Well, what a dramatic race that was, right from the word go. I'm afraid Teddy Boy, who was just misbehaving a little bit in the preliminaries, got rid of Gavin Ryan as the stalls open. And then, I'll tell you what, lads, he went on to play a huge part in the finish of the race, because he's cost probably Little Clarinet a winning opportunity here, Ruby, no doubt.
Definitely, although I'd like to see it again. It was they broke level, they were level to a furlong. The near side were definitely in front at halfway. Then Dunican made his move and closed the gap on the far side. But Baby Power comes through the pack on the stand side again in the sheepskins, the white sheepskins, yellow and blue colours, 3 from the stands rail. That burst through to win. Teddy Boy decides to drift a little bit right now and gets right over in front of Dunican. But as the camera angle changes, I think Lee Roach was closer to Dunican. We might have thought 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
He's had to pull up at least 100 yards from the line, isn't he? 100 and maybe even 150.
He's only getting a length in the end, like so.
Yeah. Here we go back to the start. Keep an eye on the middle there, Teddy Boy.
Oh, clipped heels, did he?
As the head comes up and Gavin Ryan out the side door. Hopefully he's okay. So it's 2 races where we've had a casualty, and I'm afraid it wasn't good news for the horse that took the spill in the first either. Red Assembly, commiserations to Connections there. Luke McAteer happily was able to walk away, but they split into 2 groups, and we were trying to figure out who was in front, guys. We thought initially the stand side were getting the better of it, then the far side, but the great thing to point out here is that there doesn't seem to be any discernible draw bias, does it?
No, there wasn't. I mean, the stand side definitely looked to be in front here. The last camera switched, they were level, but as it turns here again, this side are definitely a couple of lengths in front.
In fairness, we thought this was where the early pace was going to be this side.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it's worked out. But Dunican then goes and closes it down to lead the far side with the help, I suppose, of the loose horse to chase. Ultimately, it cost them. But there was no bias, and there looks to be no real hard look stories. I mean, they're fanned out across the track. No one's getting stopped. Well, obviously, other than Dunican, but no one got knocked down trying to get a run or anything. They've all pretty much run on merit. Dennis Hogan's horse raced much closer to the pace today, but faded, so that didn't work. Then we go back to dropping that in. But Dunican's gone by the 100. There, at the 50. It's on the 50-yard marker he can slow down. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and he ends up, was it 4th or 5th in the end?
4th. I think the horse in the green with the black cap in the middle finished 2nd, didn't it?
So looking at the head on, and as you can see, fanned right across the track there, a whole host of horses with a chance. The red in the centre, Tyrconnell has run a good race too for Sarah Lyon, and came to have a say there, about a furlong and a half down. And the eventual winner, Baby Power, with the cheek pieces right down the stand side rail, just moving away from.
Well, she's down the stand side rail. Little Clarinet's down the far side rail.
Yeah. Dunican could have kept going there, watching the head on. It came to him and then ducked back.
And there's another look at Teddy Boy. Harding company with Gavin Ryan. So frustration for his Connections after a poor draw last time, got no run today, and in the end it's Lee Roach for Gary Caldwell riding the winner here. Bernard Caldwell, who is the trainer's father, of course. He's leading him in there, is leading her in, I should say, is a prominent figure in the Stable Staff Association.
HRI board member as well, I think.
That's right, Baby Power, who had run well, in fairness, behind Verhoeven here last time. She was one of any number you could have given a chance to beforehand. Has got her turn here, and what as I say, was a pretty dramatic race, Mark.
Was indeed, as you'd expect from a huge field sprint handicap number 23, Baby Power, wins at 14-1. Second was Polly Douglas at 20-1. Third, Hee Haw at 20-1. Fourth was Little Clarinet at 10-1. Non-runners though, number 16 and 24, and 26 ran.
Hey, Harry.
Hello, mate.
Tell me how to get to the racecourse.
I'm useless with directions. Your best bet is to find a queue of horse boxes and follow them. But if you want a sure winner, I do know a nice horse. He's absolutely been burning up the gallops.
Harry?
I've only gone to burnt Sandra's trumpets.
Oh, don't.
Sandra?